Hello and welcome back. I'm Admiral Jedi, and this is my Paradox Interactive Historical Playthrough Mega Series, playing as the modern-day nation of Turkey, specifically the Ottoman Empire at this point. This is video number 7 of the Europa Universalis segment, and probably the last video of this one before we move on to Victoria 3. In this 7th and final video, we're going to be seeing a lot of Russia going to war with Russia, whereas in previous videos I was doing daycare and promoting them into the great power that they now currently are. I don't know if they are truly a great power. Looks like not. So they should be. Anyway, so we're going to be dealing with that a lot. We're going to continue dealing with the Ottomans' diplomatic relations with the surrounding great powers. And unfortunately for us, this is going to be a time of great transformation for the next 75 years, where we're going to see some independence, some states declaring independence. And while that may not be good from a actually keeping my empire together standpoint, it is good from the this is what actually happened standpoint. So I have backed away from really declaring goals because there's just a bunch of stuff, random historical events, where we're not really so much trying to accomplish anything anymore, so much as trying to either obey or simulate the events that truly happen in history to the best of our capabilities. The year is 1770, and I just want to zoom in real quick on the rise of Wahhabism. Initially put forward by Ibn Abd al-Wahhab. Probably pronounced that incorrect, so you're welcome to correct me on that. It was claiming to be, the movement was claiming to be a sort of more pure version of Islam, and one of its primary tenets was a disbelief in the concept of Islamic saints. People who had died that you could sort of pray through, and that Islamic prayer should be prayed only to Allah or to God. And so this movement began to gain a lot of traction in this area, including the holy sites, Mecca, Medina. And what I cannot, unfortunately, simulate is that in like the 1810 kind of time frame, it boiled over, and there was a war fought by the Wahhabi supporters against Egypt, which was technically and is still currently in the game an Ottoman vassal, so to speak, barely. We're going to go through that a lot more later. Anyway, and this war was fought and lost, where significant areas came under control of Wahhabism and what is now modern-day Saudi Arabia. I wish I could simulate it. Unfortunately, rebellions just kind of suck. I mean, even if there was a religious revolt, these dudes, the Egyptians, would be like, and just wander over there and crush them instantaneously. So I wish I could simulate it just for historical accuracy's sake, but unfortunately I can't. So I'm not even going to talk anymore about this. Really, in around 1811, these areas would have been lost. But I can't really do that. So, yeah. In 1774, after significant and continuous defeat at the hands of the Russians, which has not happened in this game, but did happen in real history, Sultan Selim III, is he even our Sultan? Nope. Kind of realized that the Ottoman military was in desperate need of modernization. The Janissaries had really gone from being sort of fierce and honorable to, frankly, kind of lazy and entitled. And they were more frequently the cause of most of the Ottoman problems in the form of constant rebellions and drained finances and such. And it got so bad that papers declaring one to be a janissary, and therefore entitled to a lifetime of free of taxation, a lifetime of payments, were being sold on the open market. there were so many Janissaries on the payroll. There were a bunch who were purely fictional, actually, and they were either dead or never even existed. So when the Sultan, for example, called up an army of, say, 40,000 people, only 8,000 would show up because they were the only real Janissaries. So he began to promote a military, as well as other set of reforms known as the Nizam-e-Sadid, which means the new order. And it was mostly an attempt to modernize the army. Now we can see a little bit of that here. Nizami-Sadid infantry, you can kind of see that. And so it's, one generation old at this point. It did work kind of in the beginning, but obviously the Janissaries were really upset about basically being replaced. And they rebelled, which is what they would do all the time. And Selim III was actually eventually deposed and ultimately murdered. In 1783, where we are now, Russia annexed... No, that's not true. Is that true? Well, I think, yeah. Russia annexed Crimea. There had been a struggle between Russia and Crimea, Russia, the Ottomans, over Crimea for many, many years. Russia had ambitions to access the Mediterranean trade through the Black Sea, and also up through the Baltic. Okay, but the Crimea had plenty of access to the Black Sea and therefore to the Mediterranean. So Russia really wanted this land, and so they went so far as to have diplomatic engagements with them and try and woo them and hey, we're friends too. You guys are on our side. And then the Ottomans, of course, didn't take very kindly to that, and so it escalated into war. Where originally the Crimean Tatars were on the Ottoman side. Remember, they've been our bad boys for a while. Genoa really shouldn't have this. I'm just too lazy to take it from them. So anyway, at this point, at a certain point, Crimea became, instead of a vassal of the Ottomans, they became independent, and then they became a vassal of the Russians, and then ultimately Crimea was annexed by Russia. So because I've spent all this time trying to turn Russia into the powerhouse that they really should be, and it's failed, and indeed they just got done attacking a war against the Commonwealth, who has zero manpower, and they did literally nothing. They just sat there, and the Commonwealth painted Russia red. And at one point I tried to join in, but the Commonwealth is allies with Persia, and so that just got too annoying. And Russia just went to 99% loss and just sat there and did absolutely nothing. And now they've built their manpower up a little bit. So anyway, I just cannot get them to be the great power that they need to be. So I would go to war with them if they attack me and surrender the Crimea. But instead, we're probably going to have to do it a super doofy way. And that is, we're going to declare on them. They have no allies. And they've got nothing. So I'm going to declare on them. And then just to simulate it, because I really don't want them being any weaker than they already are, I'm going to immediately try to sue for peace. And offer them all these territories. So let's see. They have it in order. They really want manage. Where is that? There it is. And then what I do, I've simulated this once before, is I just kind of go through their list of what they really want until it gets to be something really stupid, which it can be occasionally. I don't know where Sarai is. I'm probably staring at right... Oh. Duh. Okay, they prefer Lower Dawn. Okay, there you go, Lower Dawn. But now they prefer Azaraba. So anyway, let me get through this. So there we go. After going through all the territories that they want and don't want, they have magnanimously decided, after not a single shot fired, of course that's super not historically accurate, but the overall of them annexing Crimea is accurate, so that's what we're going to head for. So they have magnanimously decided to do that. Now, maybe one of the other things that I'll do... is release Crimea as a subject as well. We'll stop bearing. Yeah, so whatever, because they're barely anything left. So and they're like, hey, didn't we help you? Yeah, sorry guys. History, you pay the price for history. You know what? Can I give them Astrakhan? I'm sick of having this thing. They don't want it. Russia prefers Astrakhan. Oh, it already is. Okay, yeah. Okay, alright, cool. Boom. Alright, so Russia officially annexed the Crimea, and of course we're going to thank Janissaries for it. It's May 5th, 1789, a very famous date when the French Revolution started in France. And the French Revolution was a huge game changer in Europe for many, many reasons. Unfortunately, in our game, it's not happening here. It is happening in Britain. So, that sucks. But anyway, one of the things that it did was make every single other country terrified of having the revolution occur in their lands. Because the people rose up and were chopping people's heads off, and it got gruesome and nasty. And in the middle of this rose a very, very famous figure, Napoleon, who was one of the most, if not the most, brilliant French generals and successful French military generals to ever exist. Napoleon, regrettably, much like the French Revolution in this game, does not exist. But he's going to play a part in our saga here, coming up in 1798, I think. But I just wanted to take a pause for a minute and point out that the French Revolution in history would have been underway. A very interesting event here, first time seeing it, and that is the internal power struggle, or the internal struggle, has triggered. And let's see, power struggle, once a mighty player at the stage of the great powers, which this is historically accurate, as I've been saying. The Ottoman Empire really just became sort of a side note. And all of these troubles are about to happen to us. Now, one of the things that I've been kind of ignoring, perhaps at my peril, is the decadence mechanic, which it hit 100. And I do wonder if a certain degree of this is supposed to happen, because you see there's the stagnation of the Ottomans there, that plus 0.25, and it's just sort of, eventually going to happen, which I'm down for. Historically, that's certainly the case. What I didn't realize was going to happen, which I think is super duper cool, is two things. One, we have all these exciting new, disasters that can happen. We've seen a Janissary coup before, no big deal. But I'm very intrigued about this Aeolette rebellion. And the other thing that's really kind of cool is you get a whole new set of missions that are added to it, all down here, anything underneath Pax Ottomana. And so we're going to explore this because they could assist us in accomplishing some of our historical goals. I don't remember the time frame of this. Of course, I'm going to go through it with you. But the entire Aeolette of Egypt under Muhammad Ali will declare its independence. And so we will want to make use of that. Also in 1821, we are, I don't want to say looking forward to, but we are expecting a Greek independence revolution. And so I definitely want to make sure of these independence crises that go on here. And in 1826, we're going to deal with the Janissaries as well. So I'm going to explore this a little bit more and bring you back in on some of the historical relevances. It's good because I was kind of worried that this final 40 years of gameplay was going to be kind of boring as I just go into decline. And so I'm glad that we have these extra events and missions to take care of and bring us a little bit of, hopefully, historical goodness. In 1798, Napoleon invaded Egypt. His reasons were ostensibly to, well, I mean, I'm sure it had something to do with, like, we're going to protect, French Catholics and the, Israel, Egypt area. But really what his intentions seem to have been is to stop Britain from increasing their trade power in the East, and they wanted France to have an increased trade power. This is relevant to us because he's eventually defeated, Napoleon is, in Syria, and this gives rise to Muhammad Ali, not the boxer, but rather the famous, really, founder of Egypt, who fills a power vacuum and really did a lot of... He was a brute, for sure, but he also brought a lot of advancement to Egypt and reform to Egypt, much of which was imitated by the Ottoman Empire as well. So that kind of dovetails on what we were just talking about with the Aelet. Egypt is not really set to revolt until like mid 1830s, I think. If we do have an Aelet revolt event, which is coming here in 1800, and it's Egypt, I may just let it happen. We'll see. I'll probably do some testing to see if I put it down, because there was a lot of back and forth with Egypt being too independent. I mean, Egypt at this point, even though they're an Aelet, were essentially an independent province. They did whatever they want. And one of the reasons why is they kept the money flowing. They just kept sending money and it's like, okay, don't tell us what to do, and we'll just keep sending you money. And the Ottoman sultans were like, all right, deal. So they were basically like a tribute-paying vassal. So anyway, we will see what happens. But that event in 1798 is really what precipitated all of that. This came up once before in one of my save games. I'm like, oh, I just accidentally clicked on something. And now I'm realizing, like, no, I won. I beat it. Or it ended, rather. I'm not going to end here. I'm going to end in 1836 because there's a couple more events that we still need to go through. So let's get some fast forwarding going on and get to those events. And the first of those events is on this day. If you're Greek, you probably know exactly what this day is, March 25th, 1821, which is Greeks' Independence Day, from celebrating their independence from, you guessed it, the Ottoman Empire. So the way I'm going to try and play this is, I don't know the precise structure of where the independence started. Maybe if I do a Greek playthrough, I will learn that. But anyway, we're going to start around this time, and I'm going to hope that Greek rebels rise up, and I have the power to, unfortunately, easily crush them. So I'm going to let them, do their thing and see what happens there. And I'm currently, as the internal power struggle events come up, I'm currently granting them authority. And what I don't want to do is, if a Greek shows up here, a rebel, give them this, because they didn't take that territory, at least not right away. So that's what we're going to do. Greek independence was not a single-day event, obviously. I'm pretty sure it lasted till like 1829, and some of the initial rebellions were put down. So we're not going to do that because, even though it would be historically accurate, it would not lead to a historically accurate outcome, which is Greeks having their independence. So let's do the best that we can and see how it goes. Okay, here's our 13k Greek separatists. We're gonna let them go, and they'll hopefully take some and I hope that none of my vassals come and step on them. They're in a great place physically, in terms of what I want them to take. No, don't do it. Don't do it, Serbia. Don't. No. Okay. Yeah, just sit there. No. Moldavia. Here we go. So many OK buttons. Yeah, okay, that's it. So here we go. Alright, I didn't even do this. Alright, stupid. So we're going to have to find another way to accomplish this. Okay, instead of fast forward, rewind. And my rebels are back. And this time I told all my vassals, just stay put. Don't do anything. I forgot that we have this control over them. So, let's see how they do. You go, Greeks. You win your independence. For history! Uh-oh, look at this. We're going for a second territory here. Oh no, whatever will I do? The Greeks are too oh. Dang it. The fort. That sucks. I'm just not going to be able to do this. Let's see. What can they... Alright, this whole area down here, you guys go. You get it. You go. Alright, let's see if I can mothball these forts and turn off their area of influence. I've literally never done this. I have by the interface or by the mothball forts. Okay, alright. So let's mothball these forts. It's mothballed. What's the difference? Oh, okay. Oh, we'll never be... Oh, okay, I gotcha. Alright, alright. Alright, so we're gonna start mothballing these forts and see what they can do. Okay, good news. We just got an event-based Greek rebellion. So if I do end this revolt, a larger number of them, a much larger number of them will rise up. And then we just don't kill them. So, let's try it. This is looking good. Alright, so the Greeks are painting the map pretty good. I mean, I'm just letting them, of course. Which is not historically accurate, like we talked about. So we're going to take a break from that in 1826. We've just got probably about 2 more events, and then we're going to finish not only the video, but the entire Europa Universalis series, and move on to Victoria III as the Ottomans. Anyway, 1826, and something happened here, which is following the ultimately failed Nizam-e-Did, the New Order movement of Selim III, his, I think it's grandson, Mahmud, I think so, Mahmud II, made a whole new set of reforms. Reforms that were the beginning, the precursor of the Tanzimat, or the auspicious reforms, which we're going to deal a lot with in Victoria III. A key player in these reforms, besides the Sultan Mahmud himself, was, of course, our good friends, the Janissaries. And so we're going to be messing with them quite a bit right now. Anytime the Janissaries, I don't know why this detail interested me. Anytime the Janissaries got upset, they would walk out into the center of their barracks or their square, and they had big pots for cooking, filled with their meat, their food. I guess the food was provided for them. And whenever they had a grievance, they would turn the food pots over. This was symbolically like throwing down the gauntlet, basically saying, we have an issue. They would turn their food pots over. I tried doing that with my wife one time, and she did not like it at all. No, I'm kidding. I didn't really. So anyway, as I mentioned before, in my opinion, the Janissaries really went from an honorable, powerful group of people to really to a bunch of entitled kind of brats who would start wars and resisted all reforms. I mean, Selim III's really good and necessary reforms to stop Russia from kicking their butt were wonderful, and guess who opposed them? The Janissaries, because they had the most to be changed by them. And I think there's kind of a general social statement there altogether that the people who are mostly going to be affected by something, whether it's good or not, they're opposed to it. So we've done some things in our mission tree so far with the internal incident. We've handled the Janissaries, quote-unquote. And now we're going to do this Dev Sharma's shackles. In 1826, the Janissaries started a revolt, and we may do that. We may simulate that or make it work. And they were brutally put down by cannon fire. And really, 1826 marks the end of the Janissaries. So we're going to do this event and see what it does. We have already fulfilled the quality or the qualifications for a long time. So we're going to go ahead and do this. All right, Fate of the Div Sharma. Proven its value. As time went on, the system was increasingly ignored. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we are going to say it's over. We're going to abolish Dev Sharma, unlock Ottoman conscription. All right, a lot of this stuff looks pretty good. Okay, off you go. Okay. Due to the changes in your countries, Janissaries will no longer have the privilege. Yes. Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and see how they're affected by this. Okay, I thought we could get rid of more of these privileges, but perhaps not. Now, can we revoke? Where are we at with our... Okay, loyalty is higher than influence, absolutely. So we can get rid of this privilege. We are essentially going to dismantle the Janissaries. And then, to simulate that, I'm going to literally delete them from my army and never use them again. So it's nice to see some of these changes. Sekban, the end of Dev Sharma, temporary infantry mercenaries, okay, fine. I didn't see any of that in my research, so I can't really comment on it. Ottoman conscription. The event told us that was going to happen. Alright, fair enough. Let's see what else this does. Had the Janissary Corps disaster. And I think that there's... Unlocks the Face the Janissaries in Constantinier. Ooh, very interesting. Okay, I think we need to go ahead and do this disabling of the Janissary Corps manually to spawn this. I'm very interested to see what this looks like. Now, I mentioned before Egyptian independence, Muhammad Ali, and I allowed the Ayolit rebellion disaster to begin, and it's happening. So here it is. They want more liberties, independence. So we could say, forget you, and they'll declare on us independence. Or we could just simply, say, whatever, you could just be independent. Now, I would fight them because that did happen. However, again, RNG in this game, a combined army of the Commonwealth and Persia just randomly decided to attack me in a war of imperialism. So, I really don't want to fight on 3 fronts. And there you go. So I'm going to, just from an overall historical accuracy's sake, basically say, okay, fine, you are independent. So, there you go. And they're not independent. So that's kind of weird, but I'm sure it'll kick in here in a month or so. Let's see, do they still even show as... Okay, well, maybe they are independent. I just thought it would now no longer call them Ayolet Emissir. But, so there you go. The Egyptians are independent. 1 year too soon. They became independent in 1831. They were not yet fully independent, by the way, because... Am I about to die? I didn't realize that. We better get some dudes up there. I'm just in a straight frickin' Zergan mode at this point with these Persians. They're driving me crazy. What's going on, man? Why don't you just all go the same way? That's a cool idea. Anyway, so We will take it back from them in Victoria 3, and they don't really achieve true independence, I think, until after World War I. And again, I'm not really there in my research. But so this did happen. They are independent as of 1831. And that is it for Egypt. So I have left this Greek area occupied by separatists for a long time at this point, maybe 7 to 8 years, and nothing has happened. And I keep checking here, and they keep going, yeah, they're about 25% of the way there. Well, they're liars. Like, this hasn't moved. Oh, it'll be done in 60 months. No, it won't, actually. So, there's really nothing else I can do besides just force it. So, I'm going to accept their demands. And there you go. Greece. So, that extended a little bit too far to the east, I think, for my comfort level. But anyway, that really is it. I had planned to end in 1836, just simply because that's where Victoria 3 starts. But really our final event, historically speaking, was the independence of Egypt, which occurred around 1831, so we're already 2 years past that. Greece's independence began 1821 through 1829, so we're already past that. So that is it. We are done. We are done not only with this video, but we are done with Europa Universalis. And we're going to move on to Victoria 3. So you know what? Let's take a little preview of what it's going to look like. Where is Constantinople here? And here we are in Victoria 3. Let's take a look around and see what's similar, what's different, and then we'll go ahead and end it. So here we are, the Ottoman Empire. Couple things. We do see Egypt is indeed free, like just happened, like just had their independence. We can see Greece. Let's take a comparison here, where we see Greece in the southern portion of the Peloponnese, and it looks like we gave them a little bit too much, or well, gave them. It looks like they took a little bit too much land. As you can see here, they extend a lot, pretty far over to the east, getting one province away from Constantinople. We also see that Austria is pretty big, and Prussia exists. So those things definitely did not happen. As you can clearly see here, Austria is small, fragmented, Mainz exists. So a pretty big difference here. We also see that the Commonwealth does not exist, and Russia is big and strong, unlike in Europa Universalis. There's no such thing as British North Germany as well. And that's clearly one of the mistakes that I made, not containing the Commonwealth enough. They went totally crazy. Italy looks quite different. Here we have two Sicilies, we have Papal States, there's no Venice. Whereas from this recent playthrough, we have Spanish Sicily, Italy, again, no Papal States, so not too huge of a difference here other than the Spanish Italy. Now in the north, in the Danubian area, we have our provinces, Serbia, Wallachia, Moldavia, and indeed, they are protectorates or vassals of the Ottoman Empire still. So that is definitely the same. But this territory here up in Bosnia, you can see we just weren't able to hold on to it, really. Now, on the eastern boundaries of the empire, boundaries with Persia, Persia is quite a bit smaller in this Victoria 3 playthrough, and we still have a lot of this territory. And you might recall they ended up sort of waging war on me, which I lost, actually, and had to surrender territories to them. So this is quite a bit different. As you can see, Persia is just massive in the playthrough we just finished. And lastly, in the African region, west of Egypt, we see Tripolitania and Tunis. And they are vassals of the Ottomans as well. Puppet and protectorate, fair enough. But then to the west, you can see how in our most recent playthrough that the Tunis Eyalet really extends, and there's no subdivision of it. And so that brings us to an end. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. This was a good time for me, and I'm looking forward to continuing in Victoria 3. I hope you'll join me there for the remainder, and in fact the conclusion, of the Turkey historical playthrough mega series. I'm Admiral Jedi, and thank you so much for watching.